Was it worth it?
Well, we're gonna take a look. We don't know yet.
What we're doing is reviewing all of Jason's videos that he shot over the last 4 years. Jason Matouk is a member of the David Siddons group. I'm David Siddons, and we're looking back at the millions of views that you've had on your videos after the last 4 years. If you've watched these videos, and if you haven't watched these videos, go watch them. But if you watch them, this is fascinating because now we're looking forward to seeing was it worth it? And this is a reflection on the product and the market. And obviously, given the fact that real estate is an investment, this is really useful for those who want to understand and critique the values of properties as it is today. And we use some excellent analytical tools, including our Condo Geeks tool and the other analytics tools that we have to assess what was it worth then, what is it worth today.
To all you keyboard warriors out there saying that this thing is not worth it, well, now we're gonna know. We're gonna know for the God's honest truth from David Siddons' economic brain, is this actually worth it? Let's take a look.
Okay, this one's gonna be a fun one.
All right, yeah, so David and I are gonna review possibly one of the most interesting properties that's ever been seen in Island Mirada, and I'll tell you why. So originally, when I found this house, in order to get to it, I was at one of those points where I ran out of inventory to film, and I was like, listen, I gotta make a video, it's taking too long. So I went on to luxury rentals, and I found this Chateau on the ocean. That's what they call a chateau, not just a mansion.
It's impressive.
It's impressive.
You shot a beautiful video.
I did a good video.
This is a really good-looking video. So this is a $40 million, as the video says, Chateau on the ocean, most luxurious estate in the Florida Keys.
And keep in mind, this isn't like a house that had traded before. They bought this land, built this thing, and their whole business model was you're gonna rent it out for $100,000 a week. And with $100,000, you get white glove service, you get all these features, you can host weddings here. So that was the concept. I go to shoot the video, he has no price for the house because you have to put in all my videos, we're touring a blank house, $40 million chateau. I go, listen, we don't know the price, it's a big house, it produces $5 million a year in income, let's say $40 million, whatever. We stuck with that, and then come to now to sell the property, the owner actually wants $40 million. So that's what we're diving into to see if that's even worth it.
Talking about diving in, Did you stage that bird?
Do you know how hard that was? I stood out there for hours, and the birds I would film here, and they would dive over there. So that took forever, and then finally I got this one, and I wrapped it up. I was like, all right guys, time to leave, I got it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it took me forever.
That's good. So if you want to hire, not only does Jason come with a camera, but he also comes with the energy, the
willpower, the determination.
And specially trained birds that will fly into the ocean at any given moment.
Yeah, but I mean, just to credit this place, before we dive into what it's worth, to credit this place, this thing has a ballroom that converts it to a pickleball court and basketball court, has a 6,000 square foot rooftop terrace, which I gotta double check because when they kept telling me 6,000, I don't know if I believed it, but apparently 6,000 square feet on top, on the ocean. So you have land all the way down out into a dock that's 120 feet long. You have a fire pit outside, you have a 120-inch LED TV and the waterproof down in the porch that you can project like your business plan, you can project like a presentation of a company. So they've had like high-level vehicle companies come out and just do presentations out there, and they charge $10,000 for the hour just to do that. I mean, the place has feature after feature. And according to the owner, it produces $5 million a year in income just if you rent it for 20% of the time. So if you own this thing, you rent it for 20% out, you get $5 million a year in income. That's what he claimed. So there was a lot of benefits.
I gotta do the math on that.
Yeah, we need David to dive in on that. Yeah, we gotta have David dive in. But essentially, that's where the 40 million came from when I came up with the video.
I know there are properties in Miami that in the peak of the summer, and I know one or two where they rent it out for like $200,000 a month.
Right, exactly.
So this is like, these are on the Venetian Islands or on Hibiscus Island. These are like prime.
You go from there to like the most famous restaurant you know. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is down in the Keys.
Not just any key. The Island Mirada, I don't know if you've ever been, whoever's watching, but when you go down there, it's about an hour and a half south of Miami. So you're kind of in the boonies. I'll be honest with you. When I was there, it's kind of like afterwards you're going to like a fish shop. There's nowhere else to eat or drink or go out.
I've been down there.
Yeah, I mean.
I went camping down there.
You go there to escape reality, like, yeah.
Yeah, so this is definitely the exception, not the rule. When you go down there are not $40 million properties down there. I actually decided to go and look and see what stuff's trading right now for around $40 million in Miami. Interestingly enough, there's 270% more sales this year at $10 million plus properties than there were last year. And that has a lot to do with the fact that there's just more of this luxury product, plus most importantly, many more luxury, ultra net worth buyers, the wealth migration that's come down here. But looking at this, I'm looking at stuff in like Gables Estates, Lagos Island.
The best areas where you want to be.
Island. There was a property here in like down the street from me here in the Grove that was on the water. They're all waterfront houses. And there's a lot of like really, really impressive waterfront homes. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, surprisingly, $40 million. It would make it, one of the top 10 most expensive properties to sell in South Florida this year, from what I can see from our current MLS, which doesn't factor in maybe some of the other stuff that traded off market or Palm Beach. But still, $40 million. Let's dig in a little deeper into this and kind of understand this.
So
it's on the beach.
Well, one thing I want to point out too, and you have to understand this, is when David's talking about those other $40 million houses in Coral Gables and whatnot, those are built like homes for families. This is built like a business. So even though it's staged like a house, the rooms are all interestingly shaped because they're actually catering to people coming to stay for a weekend. So it's not designed for your kids to be on a certain floor with you. It's none of that is there. You walk in, you go up the stairs, and there's just one tiny little kitchen, tiny little TV room, tiny little dining room. Everything else is meant for entertainment. So, because the whole point of this is you're going to the ballroom to have your wedding, you're going to the rooftop to see the sunset. You're not really watching TV with your 5 kids, you know what I mean? So it's not even designed like a home. You have to put that in the price.
The billionaire's place to go down and play in the Keys.
Like, look what you're looking at right now. This is supposed to be an ensuite, like a bedroom suite. What bedroom has an entire terrace like that? It doesn't make any, and this is just a guest bedroom.
When was this house built?
So this was built, if I'm not mistaken, they bought the land in 2015. They built the property in 2019. We can confirm this. And then they had it, I don't know what that shot was, I'm sorry. But then they put it on the market.
You were getting comfortable.
Wait, and what's even crazier is that they're adding on to this house. They're building it bigger and adding another ensuite onto the side of like another room. And they all the suites are named like Venetian this, and it's like designed like a business hotel.
I was gonna say, I didn't want to be rude, but I was gonna use the word hotel.
No, I mean,
when you've got that kind of effect.
This is the kind of stuff we would tell our buyer. If we're trying to break down the price, we gotta tell them the honest truth.
Yeah, fundamentally, these critiques of these videos that were shot and what it actually really kind of illustrates is really coming down to the point of whether something is truly worth it.
Correct.
And just because it's big and really impressive doesn't necessarily mean
sense.
It's worth it. So I know a lot of people question, they see this, it's impressive.
Right.
But they're like, if I could buy it, would I buy it?
Right.
And if I did buy it, what would the value be?
Exactly.
Where would it be? And again, it's hard to know right now because it's not sold. It's on the beach, it's truly impressive, but it's so avant-garde, I think that you've got to be a really specific type of buyer, and I don't know who's gonna come in and buy this compound on the beach.
The buyer for this one would have to be somebody, ideally, who would use it maybe for a couple weeks out of the year, and then they're just renting out consistently. But you need a team for that. You got to have staff to coordinate all of this, and so there's a lot that goes into just renting it. So you're buying this huge property, you're using it to have fun, and then like how do you manage it for the rest of the year? It becomes a business almost. Like, are you trying to buy a business? Or are you trying to buy a home? There's a lot to consider.
There's you in the bar. I got to get back to this. This video is great. There's you in the bar. You are the barman for the day.
Yeah.
I look like I'm looking in a bar in a restaurant.
All right. So what he's saying is I got to dress differently because that's not what I'm going for.
Oh, okay. The gym. I love a good gym.
So the good thing about this gym I'll mention is that they had the idea that a lot of influential people will be coming to this, like the John Cena's of the world, and so they put the best of the best equipment. So you do have top of the line gear, but again, look at the space. I
don't know. Like this to me, I still a lot of big houses.
Right.
We deal with a lot of clients, so we see a lot of property. And what I see now people doing is they're actually taking their garages, their 4-5 car garages.
Huge.
Because they've got double height ceiling. So they've got like the Rogue racks, they've got all the lifting gear, and you need a ceiling height because a low ceiling doesn't work. If you start doing an overhead press, you're
done.
Stick your barbell through the ceiling.
Right.
So that doesn't work. And then there's like a crazy TV in the underneath the house.
So what's crazy about that TV too is that the operating cost, or what they charge to operate it, is about $10,000 an hour just to do like a presence. So if you have a company and you're releasing a product and you want to gather all the investors outside just to showcase this thing, they're going to charge you $10,000 an hour. So there's a lot of ways you can make money in the house. But again, if you're buying this to live in, You don't really need an entire wall of your pool area as a TV.
Yeah, if you've got that kind of $40 million property, you're not going to start charging people 10 grand to use the TV.
Yeah, it's
set.
interesting.
It's a weird...
But it is cool. I mean, if you're a billionaire, it's nice to just watch the sports game while on the other side of your house, on the outside.
I can see it as a cool place to rent for an event, and you get a lot of people coming down to enjoy themselves. Fun to visit. Don't know if I'd actually live in it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. Well,
is it worth it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no. I'm sorry.
Next.
Next.